It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That is a brand new solo single from Ron Keel, just called Dead Man Rockin'. And our good friend Ron Keel, Chris, is facing a crisis, actually a couple of crises in his life.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
First of all, things at the pawn shop. They've closed that place down due to the legislative laws that have passed against the dollar loan stores that Chuck Brennan owns in South Dakota.
Right.
So the Badlands Pawn Shop and performance venue and all that has been shut down.
Isn't that amazing, dude? They only just built it a year ago.
Well, it opened a year ago. It opened a year ago in Thanksgiving.
But I mean, as far as complexes go, it's new,
brand new. I was there.
Unbelievable, man.
I saw it. I was there. I experienced it. It was a beautiful place. I couldn't say enough nice things about it.
Sure.
And unfortunately, it is no more.
That's one piece of legislation I just do not. I don't get it. If I was Brennan too, I would have fucking been pissed and packed up my bags and gone home too. Fuck that, man. I mean, you know, I get the whole thing about loan sharking and whatnot, and how, you know, the higher the interest rate is, the closer it gets to pushing people to use unsavory people. Mm-hmm. You know, I get that piece.
And they passed that same law in Ohio. I didn't know if you were aware of that or not.
I did not. I don't use those places.
I don't either. I mean, but the thing is that Ohio passed a law, you know, similar, but I'm going to say close to 3 years ago, and a lot of those check cashing places got closed down.
I saw. Now I'm thinking about it. I don't know where there is one anymore. And
not anymore. They closed them down.
Because you remember, there used to be one right across the street from Sam's Club, right there by my house, off of Broadway. Literally right across the street, there was a check cashing place, and that's not there anymore.
Yeah. Well, I knew a gal over in the Youngstown area, and she used to be a manager at one of those places, and she lost her job.
Wow.
Because they closed that place down.
Yeah, I just don't understand how the government dictates that it can, or feels like it should be dictating your what you do with your money.
Well, see, this goes back to the liberal mindset that you're too stupid to manage your own business. Mm-hmm. So we are going to eliminate anything that could possibly cause you to trip.
See, that's just bullshit.
I agree. I mean, again, nobody forces you to walk into one of those places and, you know, get a payday loan.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody says, hey, you have to go there. It's just that you made that choice on your own.
Right.
I mean, but the thing is I don't know if you're familiar with, I see the solicitations all the time. I think it's called Blue Sky.
Okay, not familiar.
And they're a tribal Indian loan, and I think their interest rate is like 40%.
Okay.
You know, and they offer those high interest rate loans, you know. And the only time that those work for anybody is if you literally only need it for a couple of weeks and you have the means of paying it back.
Right.
But if you don't have the means of paying it back, then you're fucked.
Yeah, an emergency situation.
Yeah.
You know, your car broke down and you'll lose your job if you can't get your car fixed right away.
Correct.
Shit like that, yeah. But, you know, people that use it all the time, that's a formula for failure. But that's their failure.
Yeah.
You know, what? Let them fail.
Well, here's the thing, and I go back to a line on Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Uh-huh.
Remember Vic Damone? He was a ticket scalper.
Sure.
Remember those kids said, you know, let's go find another scalper. And he goes, scalper?
Yeah.
What I provide here is a service.
Right.
And the service costs money. Mm-hmm. And if you don't want the tickets, don't buy them.
Right. Well, the thing that kills me about the check cashing place is they want to regulate the money in the check cashing place, but they have no problem letting people blow all their money in the casino.
Not at all.
None. Go ahead, blow everything. Blow your kid's college fund. Blow all of it. No problem.
Sure.
But God forbid you fucking take a high interest loan. And they really don't have a problem either, if you think about it, when you get these fucking young kids, early, maybe not only young kids these days, but, kids that are early, people that are early in their financial careers.
Mm-hmm.
First credit card you ever had? It had to be 19-20%.
Yeah, I think it was like 19.5 or something like that.
Yeah, they have no problem with that. That's perfectly acceptable. 20% on a fucking credit card. That never, and when you're making fucking $500 a month, you're making the $12 payment. You're never fucking getting out of that.
Sure,
debt.
Absolutely.
Never, but there's no problem with that. But the check cashing place is somehow bad. And I'm not trying to defend the check cashing places either. I don't know anything about them. Honestly, I don't know if you've ever needed one or used one.
I've never used one. I know of them. I noticed that, in very destitute communities such as Gary, Indiana, you see them almost on every street corner.
Okay. So I get it. It's geared at poor people, but you know what? Poor people need help too sometimes, and you know what? Why shouldn't they pay through the ass for it?
But see, the thing is that, and I'm going to make a generalization here.
Mm-hmm.
The reason a lot of people are poor is because they have poor management skills to begin with.
Sure. Well, that, and let's go to the other side of it. The reason they charge 36% interest or whatever the fuck it is because they have the highest risk of not getting paid back.
That's correct as well.
They have to charge more. They have to make their money off of those that do pay it back.
Sure.
To supplement those that are not going to pay it back.
Well, it kind of goes back to the point that I made earlier in the show about my philosophy on the shirts.
Yeah.
I don't make any money on the shirts. I mean, domestically, I make a couple of bucks, but when I send one, overseas or, to a European country or whatever, that profit or the extra that I made on the shirt here goes right into that.
Right.
So,
exactly.
so it's a risk for reward is what it is.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
What it is. That's what it is. So that's what these check cashing places do. It's a risk for reward.
Right. Mm-hmm.
They risk X amount of dollars for the reward that they'll get paid back handsomely for their risk.
Well, and that's it. And basically they're saying, you, guy that can't walk into a bank and borrow $1,000, we'll loan it to you, but we're not going to give you the bank rate because the bank would tell you to go fucking pound.
Sure.
And for the convenience of not having to deal with a bank and having a decision and waiting and all that other shit, for the convenience of walking in and walking out with your cash, you're going to pay out the ass for it. As it should be. In my mind, that's how it should be.
Well, anyway, aside from Badlands Pond closing, which is a, the income for our good friend Ron.
Sure.
He does a couple of things there. He's like an entertainment director, which of course now the entertainment is gone.
Right.
And he is the head of the Badlands Pond or the Badlands House Band,
right?
Which I don't even know. I guess that entity or that portion is going to continue. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the band is going to continue. I don't know if it's going to be called the house band or not anymore because there's no house.
Right. And then Ron does a afternoon shift on K-Bad, which he allowed me to, be a part of his show when I was there back in October. And, he allowed me to come on air with him for a segment and, plug the Classic Metal Show. But Ron does a daily show there. And, that's part of his income.
Right.
But basically, Ron he had established a home in Nevada. He lived in Las Vegas for, numerous years and had purchased land and, whatnot out there. And this opportunity to go to work for Chuck Brennan at Badlands Pond and be the entertainment director and be part of the radio station and head the Badlands Pond house band. That was his livelihood.
Right.
And now probably 2/3 of that is gone now.
Yeah, no, that's gotta fucking hurt.
Sure. Now his wife, Renee, she's been diagnosed with breast cancer.
Oof.
So not only do they have the expense of, the medical expenses,
yeah,
and the loss of job and all these other things, they have asked that fans and friends donate money for the cause of, trying to help offset some of the medical bills.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Now, I threw some money at it, and I know you did. And Serena just texted me, and she said she sent some money that way.
Sure.
So I got a little thank you note here. I'm sure this is computer generated, but it said, thank you so much for your generous donation to our cancer fund. This is an incredibly stressful time, and the outpouring of love and support from friends like you is overwhelmingly healing in so many ways. The most important thing to take into the battle is a positive and stress-free attitude as much as possible. Knowing that so many friends and family have our back and are sending prayers helps bolster our spirits a lot. Please know how much we love and appreciate what you've done for us and will be forever grateful. Thank you. And there's a link below for, the update on the blog as to, what's going on with Renee.
Okay.
So Ron, in solidarity with his wife, he shaved his head.
Yeah.
And he is totally a cue ball now.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you feel so inclined, I'm sure Chris has the information there about donating any kind of money.
I am pulling it up right now. When did I write that? On New Year's?
I know it's on Sleaze Rocks.
All right.
So you can actually pull it up on Sleaze Rocks.
Here we go. Hold on. It's Sleaze Rocks. Kapow. If people want to donate, they can donate via PayPal at, where is it?
It's like Renee Keel Cancer Fund or something like that at Yahoo.
It is Renee Keel Cancer Fund at yahoo.com, and that's ReneeKeel Cancer Fund, all one word, at yahoo.com.
So if you want to throw a PayPal that way, I'm sure any donation you'd like to make would be appreciated, and her employer will match the funds up to $5,000.
Yeah, which is cool, which is very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And, dude, it's one of those things, and you saw what I wrote on Facebook, I'm sure, is, we never ask for dick.
No, of course not.
We never, and this was one of the times I actually asked people to donate, and I got to say, I was pretty happy with the fans.
Sure.
I mean, I put it up there, and like 10 people immediately fucking donated,
mm-hmm.
which was very, very cool, and, it's one of them things that, we try not to ask for funds for anything, really.
Yeah, because there's too much of that going on these days with the crowdfunding and the what's that other one?
GoFundMe and Kickstarter.
Yeah. Kickstarter. I mean, I get people need funds for various reasons, and that's one of the things we don't do. We try not to do that. We don't like to shake the pan, as it were. But every now and again, such as this situation, I think we did the same thing for the guy from Sammy Hagar's band.
Oh, yeah. David Lauser.
Yeah. Unfortunately, his wife passed away.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But she was dealing with a illness too, and she required a crowdfund or Kickstarter or whatever.
She just needed signatures on a petition.
Yeah, that was it. She didn't even need money. She just needed a petition signed.
Yeah, she needed so many signatures so that they could get some experimental treatment. So we asked people to go over there and do that.
Sure.
So, yeah, on occasion, we will ask for that kind of shit. But for the, both you and I are employed. Both you and I are employed. We make good coin. You make good coin. I make good coin. We don't need to be fucking paid $17 a show or whatever the fuck. Yeah, and like we've said before, and like you said earlier in the show, we don't want the hassle. We've built up a nice following without any fucking hassle.
Right.
So it's not worth, one of the things, I don't know if the listeners have noticed it or not, or even you, I know I sent you a thing this week, is we started doing a little bit of advertising.
Yeah.
Taking very little bit, and it's literally not a lot of money. It's something to, truthfully, what it's for, I'm hopeful that what it's for is to augment the cost. We have two major costs, and they're not major, but you pay a $500 bill every year for the Spreaker.
Right.
And I pay about $120 a year for the CMSradio.net to keep the 24/7 stream going.
Sure.
So those are our two major expenses. I mean, there's other stuff as well, and you fucking never stop buying equipment and that kind of stuff. But I mean, the expenses that we have to spend every year are those two, I think.
Yeah, well, those are big, major out-of-pocket expenses, like, the normal maintenance every month, or upkeep for the show anyway, obviously, is the internet feed.
Right.
And things like that. But, the big things that just, and, domain names and shit like that, those are a lot of money.
Right, it was $20 here and there.
Yeah, exactly. But it does add up. I mean, this show on a yearly basis between Chris and I probably costs, I'm going to say it's probably $2,500 a year.
Yeah, I was going to say between $2,000 and $3,000, somewhere in there.
Yeah, so that's what it cost us to do the show on a yearly basis, between $2,500 and $3,000 a year.
Right, exactly.
To bring you fucks a show for nothing.
Yep, exactly. For 6 hours a night.
Exactly. So, anyway, go over there, and if you got a couple bucks in your pocket and you want to throw it toward Ron, who's always been cool with the Classic Metal Show and always very cordial and complimentary and very supportive. Let's support back one of our own.
No kidding. We need to, dude. And this is one of those guys that I look at as more than a friend of the show, as more like a part of the show.
Sure.
Because with Ron, I pointed it out in the little thing that I wrote, that interview that he did from the stage with you.
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever happened anywhere.
Yeah, I actually have a actual photo of him doing the interview from the stage.
But I mean, of any band ever, do you think that's ever happened?
No, it's never happened that way. No.
It's a very special, limited thing that he did because he was friends with you.
Sure,
period.
Absolutely.
And, he always credits you and I, and especially me, but you and I both, for his radio career.
Mm-hmm.
From working with him and teaching him how to do it and whatever, and we did, and he was gracious enough to let me be his full-time host when he was on the road. Whenever he would go on the road, I was always the stand-in for Streets of Rock and Roll.
Right.
That gave the show big attention. A lot of people found the show on the off weeks when Ron was on the Rock Cruise or whatever, and I was able to do his show and plug the CMS 2-3 times. That's the kind of shit. And when I opened the pinball place, Ron came out, he didn't charge me dick. All he asked me for was some bottles of Jack Daniels and some hotel rooms.
Right.
Which we got comped. So Ron, he didn't have to do that. He just did it because I asked him for a favor.
Right.
So he's much more than a friend of the show. He's a personal friend, I think, to me and you both. He is a friend of the show. And you know what? If any of our true friends of the show need something, we're always willing to help. We always try to. So people can. And the thing with this is it doesn't have to be some crazy amount of money. You don't have to donate $50 or $100 or
whatever. Send $5.
$1, whatever it is. The unique thing about this, at least for the first $5,000, and I have no idea what they've raised, but the unique thing is even donating $1, you're not donating $1, you're donating $2 because her company is going to match.
Right.
So if you can donate $5, you're really donating $10, which actually, $10,000 for fucking cancer treatment. I don't think that'll go very far, but it sure as fuck help.
Sure.
Versus having to spend $10,000 out of your own pocket.
Absolutely.
Especially when your husband just lost 2/3 of his gig.
Right.
So donate a little, whatever it could be. Renee Keel Cancer Fund at yahoo.com.
Mm-hmm.
Or just walk into a bank. I think that's the other thing Ron said, too, is you can walk into any bank.
Yeah, the law office that she worked for arranged to where you can walk into any bank and just say you want to donate to the Renee Keel Cancer Fund, and they'll direct those funds to it. Yeah, so it's easy enough to do. I wish he'd put up a fucking link or something on his website. That would make it a whole lot easier. Sure. But, in any event, go out and support, somebody that clearly supports this show that you guys fucking like a lot. Mm-hmm. So that's all. Just a couple bucks through PayPal and you're done, pal. Yep. And that's the extent of how much we're going to shake the tin cup. But, if you can do, how's that? Yep.